The small bridge had stood quietly for decades, connecting Daniel's farmland to the main road. It was built for light vehicles, not industrial traffic. That morning, fresh tire marks told a different story. Daniel followed the tracks and noticed deep cracks forming along the edges of the bridge surface. The structure had clearly taken more weight than it was designed for. Moments later, another cement truck approached slowly from the dirt road. Daniel stepped forward, raising his hand to stop it. The driver hesitated and pointed toward Karen's property across the river. He explained that he had been instructed to use this route multiple times. Before Daniel could respond, Karen arrived in her SUV, stepping out with documents already in hand. She claimed the bridge had been used for years and insisted construction deliveries would continue. Daniel calmly asked if she had any load approval records. Karen dismissed the concern and told the driver to proceed. The truck slowly rolled forward again. The bridge creaked slightly under the weight, and Daniel stepped back, watching carefully. That evening, Daniel reviewed old property records and engineering notes stored in his workshop. The documents confirmed the bridge had strict weight limits far below cement truckloads. Daniel began planning his next step carefully. The next morning, Daniel placed a clear temporary sign at the bridge entrance listing the official weight limit. He made sure it was visible from far down the road. He also installed a small camera on a wooden post to record every vehicle crossing. The angle captured both license plates and load type. By noon, another cement truck approached slowly. This time, it stopped when the driver noticed the new sign. The driver stepped out, looking uncertain, and called his dispatcher for instructions. Minutes later, Karen arrived again, clearly frustrated by the delay. She waved the driver forward despite the sign. Daniel calmly pointed toward the posted weight limit and reminded everyone that the bridge was privately maintained. Karen insisted construction schedules couldn't stop and told the driver to proceed anyway. The driver refused this time, explaining he would need written approval due to safety concerns. Daniel quietly documented the entire exchange using his phone. That afternoon, Daniel contacted a county inspector and requested a formal structural review. The inspector arrived the next day wearing a safety vest and carrying inspection tools. He carefully measured the cracks and checked support beams underneath the bridge. After reviewing everything, he placed a temporary restriction notice on the bridge entrance. Karen arrived again, but this time the official notice changed the situation completely. The inspector explained that heavy vehicles were now prohibited until repairs were completed. Daniel simply nodded, knowing the documentation now spoke louder than any argument. The construction company rerouted their trucks to a different access road farther away. Traffic near the bridge immediately returned to light, local use only. Karen folded her documents slowly, realizing the situation had shifted beyond her control. Daniel looked at the bridge one more time, knowing the trap was never about damage, but about letting the rules speak for themselves. A few days later, a certified repair crew arrived to assess the bridge damage properly. They placed cones and marked the cracked areas for reinforcement work. Daniel reviewed the repair estimate carefully, making sure every structural detail was documented. The inspector stood beside him, explaining each step. Karen arrived quietly this time, watching the repair preparations from a distance without interrupting. The inspector explained that repeated heavy loads had accelerated the wear beyond normal aging. The report clearly listed the cause. Daniel placed a permanent reinforced weight limit sign at the entrance, stronger and impossible to ignore. The repair crew began reinforcing the bridge supports with proper materials designed for long-term stability. Traffic remained limited while the work continued, keeping the structure safe during repairs. Karen finally approached Daniel and asked about future access in a calmer tone. The tension from earlier was gone. Daniel explained that clear written agreements would prevent issues like this moving forward. This time, Karen listened carefully. As the sun set over the farmland, the bridge stood secure again, protected not by conflict, but by proper rules finally being followed. If this HOA story surprised you, don't forget to subscribe, and comment below where you're watching from.